Guys, it's Bree, and today I have a very interesting story time for you today. My psycho ex-roommate. Now, before I get started, I want to say a couple things. All of the names I have changed, except for my boyfriend. And I also want to give you guys the reason why I'm posting this video. This girl that I'll be talking about, we have a lot of mutual friends together, and I know that she's still probably spreading rumors about me and making it seem like I am the worst person on the planet. So I want to put this video out there so hopefully, you know, the mutual friends can see it and realize that she's the one lying and it's not me. Just want to make that clear. I have the proof, bitch. So bet you didn't think that I would save this text convo, huh? Alright, let's get into it. And I'm sorry if it seems like I'm like scripted. I had to write literally everything down so I wouldn't forget it. So I'm just going off of this, okay? Okay, so I've been really good friends with this girl I was really good friends with this girl for about 5 years. So when I decided to move back to Vegas from Connecticut, she had texted me and told me that she's looking for a roommate and that she would love to have me, and it's about $500 a month. And I would get the master bedroom and my own bathroom, which was pretty cool. And this, like, mind you, this is the first time I'm ever living with anyone else that isn't my parents. So I was so excited. What's better than moving back to Vegas and being with one of my really good girlfriends and hanging out all the time and doing whatever the fuck we want. Super excited about it, you know? And it was really fun for quite a few months. We had an open door policy, so as long as our bedroom doors were open, we could just walk in, hang out, whatever. We constantly had people over, mostly hers. And we would always have like bonfires and kickbacks and girls' nights and everything like that. And we would always, you know, make plans together. I'm sorry, over here. We would always make plans together and go on adventures. And I was getting messages like this sometimes twice or 3 times a week. She even helped get my boyfriend Frank and I together. So we were pretty close. We went everywhere together. Eventually, like, I want to say maybe 3 months in, I started noticing that she was getting really anal over like really trivial things. For instance, she sent me a picture of our pots and pans cabinet and told me that it was a mess and it has to be like this only. Also, if I was unloading the dishwasher and putting dishes and didn't put something back exactly where it belonged, I would be like reprimanded for it. Let's call her Muffin was very like detailed with everything. Like everything needed to have a place, everything needed to be this way, and I was always very supportive of that. But it took me a little bit to do everything the way that she wanted it to be done. I didn't get a say, you know. Everything she did very condescendingly. And it just went downhill from the pots and pans incident. On a new carpet installed, so the house rules were no shoes. And we also had rules posted on our fridge, but come to think of it, that was probably just for me. But we had this new rule, no shoes, which I followed religiously. And I made sure that every time I had friends over, they would take their shoes off as soon as they walked through the door. didn't even abide by her own rule. I would come home and see her and her friends like on the couch, in the kitchen, whatever, with their shoes on. But I shit you not, if I forgot even once to remind my friends to take off their shoes, I would get a fucking text message. I then started to see that she wasn't cleaning up as much anymore, and definitely didn't clean up after her friends. Like, I would come home from work and and mind you, it would be like late. I would come home and like her bong was on the table, her roll tray was filled with like ashes and burnt weed, there'd be drinks all over the table, the kitchen would be a mess and if you know anything about me, is that I despise mess. It makes me super anxious, especially living in that house. So I would just end up cleaning for her because just walking into the kitchen, I would fucking go crazy because there wouldn't even be one clean dish for me to use, so I had to wash a dish anyway, might as well just do all of it. Soon, Muffin started to take credit for the clean house and kind of make it seem like I was the one that was a mess. For example, there was this one night where her and her friends were hanging out in the kitchen and I was finishing my dinner. It was really late and I had work super early in the morning. I took the bus at that time, so if you know anything about the bus system in Vegas, fucking sucks. So I was tired, I placed a dish in the sink, and we have a rule that we have 36 hours to clean dishes from the sink. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna put the dish in the sink for right now and then I'll just come home tomorrow and clean it, which is allowed. And as soon as I place the dish in the sink, Muffin turns to me in front of everyone and says, "Bree, I love you, but you're such a slob." I started to feel like Muffin was breathing down my throat and that I couldn't do anything right. I started to feel nervous all of the time, to the point where when I went to bed, I would go back and make sure that the kitchen was clean, the back door was locked, the trash was taken out, the lights were turned off, even though Muffin would be awake in her room with her friends. But everything was my responsibility. This is what happened when I forgot to take the trash out once. Last part of the text, I'll explain a little bit more into the story because we're not there yet. She started to take control over the house. Like, she thought that she owned the house and I was just like a guest staying there, even though it was our house and we were both paying rent. She told me that I wasn't allowed to smoke my hookah anywhere but the kitchen. She can fucking smoke her like bong wherever she wants all over the house. Doesn't matter if it bothers me or not, but I can't smoke the hookah in certain parts of the house. Once Frank started coming over more, we would usually hang out in my room just for privacy purposes because at this point we were kind of paranoid that Muffin was listening into our conversations. And it's not like we were saying anything bad, but it was just like that's how tense it was getting in that household. And he suggested that we smoke the hookah in my room. And I was hesitant at first, but then I decided I shouldn't be. It's my room. I'm paying a shit ton of money to be in this room. I can do whatever the fuck I want. And if something happens, I can pay for it. But we did take precaution because I was not in the mood and way too poor at that time to pay for a whole new carpet. So we found a stainless steel mixing bowl, put the hookah in it and filled it with ice so that this way it wouldn't be as hard for it to fall over if something were to happen. So then we get up after, I don't know, like a half an hour and decide to go job hunting because at this time I was out of a job and I was job hunting like every day. So we go out to go job hunting and about 45 minutes to an hour later I get this text. This astounded me. For one, what was she doing in my room when I wasn't home? What was she doing? And it's already bad enough that whenever Frank would spend the night, my door would be closed, she would come in like early in the morning while Frank was still there and just like sit on the floor and talk to me while we were like naked. Okay. And for two, it's stainless steel. Keeping ice in it for 45 minutes to an hour, it's not gonna fucking rust it. This was my first like real red flag from her. But then she started randomly blaming shit on me. You don't know who it was? It was only you and I in that house. Oh wait, plus the multitude of friends that you had over every night. She had like at least like 10 people over every night. Or if it wasn't like a group of people, it was a boy. But yeah, it had to have been me who broke the fucking glass. Even though I have no reason to drink out of a fucking wine glass. I was like, the fuck? It's her bills. Okay, so if she's the one paying for all of the utilities, then why the fuck am I paying $500 a month to live there? Things became very problematic around New Year's. She set a new rule that no one is allowed at her house until after her dad leaves, or until after New Year's. So he was planning on coming and visiting for about like a week, like through New Year's. He never came. And this included my boyfriend. I'm gonna read these texts to you because they're crucial to the rest of this story. Okay. After today, we're taking a break on all visitors. And then I asked if that's including my boyfriend, and she said, yes, nothing against him or anyone, but I need a break. My dad's coming soon and we've been having fun, but it has to go back to normal for a while. At this point, I was telling her that I'm not really sure I agree with that, and I can't just tell Frank, hey, like, you can't come over on these days. And then I asked if like maybe we could come up with like a middle ground. And mind you, I'm always nice in these texts, so. And she said, I just want you to realize that it's putting me in a bad position. My bills this month have gone up ×3, and we moved in together. And we moved in together. It was you, me, and her ex. Now I have to cover that extra rent and pay even more and have to deal with someone else's boyfriend. Just you and me live there, and dad helps with rent so we can afford it. I understand you have a boyfriend now, and that's awesome. I'm happy for you, and Frank is chill as fuck, but he's basically living at the house, and I didn't sign up for that. I get that he lives with his family, he'd rather spend more time over at our house, but it's too much. I have work, and Trigger and I need to be comfortable in my own home. Trigger's her fucking dog, by the way. Weekend sleepovers are fine. And at this point, I'm like, okay, so her dad is helping with the rent, so that's when I started noticing, why am I paying so much when I think the rent was like $1,000, maybe $1,100 a month, and it was 3 bedrooms. Her dad was covering one, she was covering the other, and I guess all of the utilities, and I found out that I was paying more rent than she was, which I don't think was very fair. Anyway. And I was saying, like, you can't just blame Frank for the bills getting higher. And she was saying how she's tired of Frank basically living at the house, and that, like, she's over him always being there. She had people over every fucking night and stayed up twice as long as me every single night. And she was like dating guys at this point, so she had like guys sleep over like all the fucking time, like just as much as Frank stayed over. Or if she had, like, either it was her friend staying the night or it was a guy staying the night, it was like the same thing. It was never just Hannah and I. But she's tired of it, so it has to end. And then she said, tell him we're going back to 8th grade rules, weekend sleepovers. If he doesn't like it, sorry. Conclusion that the most important text is no visitors until New Year's or while my dad is in town. Sleepovers only on weekends. Now, like I said, her dad never came, so she wrote in the text until New Year's. So I figured, okay, that's like about a week away. I'll just deal with it, you know? FYI, I shouldn't follow that rule either. She started having people come over every day and spend the night and everything like that. But if Frank was over and she found out, she would fucking reprimand the shit out of me. Hence the text that I put up earlier. I would come home and there'd be people over every day. And I had to fucking let her know if Frank was coming over on a day that wasn't the weekend. I had to let her know, like she's my fucking mother. Our New Year's party was really fun. Frank and Muffin's friend, Tiff, ended up cleaning the entire house after the party. I was unable to because I got way too drunk and was getting sick, so Frank cleaned up for me. The only thing Muffin had to do was vacuum and mop. This ended up being the main topic in front of her friends for like a solid week or 2 weeks. Apparently, it's very difficult vacuuming a small living room and an even smaller kitchen. And she also never thanked Frank for any of his help. One day, I got a text from Muffin saying that she wanted to have a girls' night in to day drink. And her friend, well, our now mutual friend, Allie, decided to join us, but eventually she had to leave, and so her friend Tiff came over and bought us a bottle of vodka. Eventually had to leave to go on a date, so Tiff and I decided to go to Frank's dad's bar to get free drinks, to where I suggested that we should bring the bottle just in case we can't, whatever, so we can still drink. She got worried about this and wondered if, and this is where I kind of thought, why does it matter? It's a bottle of vodka. And that's when I told her that Muffin owes me a bottle anyway because she drank my other one, and we probably wouldn't drink it anyway. So when I got home, I was surprised because the house was actually clean. Not that it was dirty in the first place, there was like nail polishes and like a couple like glasses on the table, but that's it. So I was surprised because she rarely ever cleaned anymore. It was mostly me cleaning. So I put the unopened bottle of vodka back in the fridge and called it a night. Later on, she tried to blame me for stealing her alcohol and drinking it all. Muffin then started to get very manipulative. She started blaming me for things that she was doing and making me feel like everything was my fault. It was to the point though where every time I saw a text from her, my heart would sink like down into my stomach and I would like freak out. For example, for the New Year's party, Muffin wanted to get all the boxes from the guest bedroom into the garage so that we could use the guest bedroom. Frank did that for her and moved all the boxes and tried to stack them as best as possible, but the garage was very, very small, very messy, and very disorganized, so he did the best that he could. Later on, she comes home and yells at both of us saying that we are at fault because I guess some of the boxes fell and some things in those boxes broke. Mind you, she never told us that anything in the boxes were fragile, and also I saw what was in those boxes. It was mostly like shoes, scarves, or things that surely wouldn't shatter. I started staying over at Frank's house because the anxiety that Muffin was giving me was so ferocious that every time I heard a noise I would flinch and I would freak out every time my text tone went off. Here's what happened after staying at Frank's house for 5 days. I come home and I see that all of the dishes are piled like high at the sink, all of them dirty, and also the entire kitchen was a mess as well. So I slept, woke up the next day, and noticed that the dishes still weren't done. So I invited Frank over when Muffin wasn't there and decided to clean up the mess, only because I knew that she would find a way to blame that mess on me even though I wasn't there for like a week. It took Frank and I an hour just to wash the dishes, not even clean the kitchen afterwards. Nervous wreck and just not feeling safe in my house anymore, I decided to go back to Frank's house. One day I see a post on Instagram. It was our mutual friend Allie's birthday dinner. Muffin was there with all of our other mutual friends, including my friend Becca, who is Frank's best friend's girlfriend. Fucking hairs, shit. And I got upset about this and I started getting worried. Did I do something to upset Allie? Did I do something wrong? What's going on? So the next day, Becca calls me and tells me everything. That Muffin planned the birthday party and purposefully left me out and told everyone else that I just couldn't make it. She talked shit about myself and my boyfriend over the entire dinner. She was spreading rumors and trying to turn everyone against me. She even was saying that I was doing cocaine. I have a seizure disorder. I would literally fucking die if I ever did cocaine. Muffin said that the only reason she hung out with me was when she was bored and she had nothing else to do, and that all I do is leave messes everywhere that she has to clean up. And that I always invited myself into her plans. You saw the text. She literally invited me everywhere all the time. And that I stole her bottle of vodka. And lastly, that she has been talking shit about me for months. Fake. So that's all for today's video. I hope you liked it. Sorry it was so long, but there's like no way to shorten this. If you like this, please give me a thumb up and subscribe. If you like stories like this, I have a bunch more. Please leave me a comment down below. I love you guys. See you later.